So thanks for the response, guys. You sent him a lot last week. He got like 14. So it really made him happy. Really doing a lot for his self-esteem that you guys just sent the dick pics over. So thank you.
It's true. It's unnerving that you have that much time.
Well, like I said, the artistry. Like last week we talked about the puppetry, but the artistry, like the sun behind that one you showed me, like someone painted a sun. It was.
I know. It's crazy because this same person keeps sending me dick pics in different artistic styles. I think he's going through his blue ball phase right now.
Oh my God. Another week, man.
Another week. What is this, like 18?
I think it's 18.
18
a lot of weeks doing this shit. It's America through a rocks glass, man. Weeks 18.
We could almost have a kid.
Almost. We can just
a little bit of one.
A little shot. Ah.
Oh, there we go. What are you drinking, brother?
Oh, I'm drinking Whiskey Pig tonight, man.
Let's see.
Oh, it's over there.
Oh, you lame. I'm drinking. Oh, okay. I'm drinking a new old fashioned in honor of President Biden.
A new old fashioned.
Yeah, I mean it's a new thing, but he's old as shit. So it's gonna be. This guy is falling asleep at 5:30. That's what. Don't get me wrong. I'm excited, but
man, it's been a calm week, to be honest with you. There's been a ton of executive orders come out. They're impeaching Trump, but all in all, it's been kind of calm. I mean, there's still the riots that happen, but I mean, those are going to happen.
Those are going to happen. I know. Isn't it a shame that we're at the point now where we're just like, there's rioting.
They're like, they attacked the Democrats now. It's like, okay, well, okay.
It's like, remember when Obama was in office and all the school shootings? Remember the first one was like, oh my God. And then like after the 90th school shooting, we're just like I don't even care. Like, I don't even care anymore. How terrible is that? Like, you just don't even care anymore.
You get numb to it.
Yeah, and that's how this rioting and stuff is. Like, you just don't even care anymore. Like, it's just like, oh, they're rioting.
Yep. I was talking to my brother last night. He came over to watch the fights, and I was like, man, Facebook has actually been like calm and funny. I haven't wanted to fucking stab people. Like, not 3 scrolls up, it's like, oh my God, the world's ending. Let's kill somebody. It's been calm. And
what's up, guys? What's up, Josh, Jen, Justin? What's up, baby? My Facebook has not been calm at all. My Republican friends are losing their fucking minds.
Really?
Oh yeah, I got a guy who's posting the daily death count of COVID and under Biden's regime so far.
So is he one of those guys that he's silenced? Is he one of those silenced Republicans then?
I don't know. Yes, probably.
Okay.
I have no idea. I know that he didn't really care that much about COVID when Trump was in office, but now suddenly there's 12,000 deaths under Biden watch when you can track COVID a week before Trump got out of office. So,
yeah. I mean, the president thing, I can't put COVID on Trump and I can't put COVID on Biden. Whether or not he handled it right, you can argue about it all day, and you can know he did some things good. He did some things really, really bad.
Correct.
He didn't do everything bad.
No.
Sorry, he didn't.
No,
but
I agree with you.
You can't put it on a president. It's like attacking Gretchen, even though she's 11'6", attacking her for her COVID response is like she's trying to figure out what to do. Like, nobody fucking knows.
You wouldn't dare. You wouldn't dare attack her. She would smash you into pulp. Gretchen smash.
Head butter kneecap, man. It'd be over.
Stretch. No,
but for real though, you can't blame the one person at the top for what's going on. You can't blame Biden any more than you can blame Trump. This shit's not going away.
Well, I agree. The hypocrisy of it is what bothers me. It's that you didn't really give a shit, X amount of months ago, years ago. Now it's like, now suddenly you care because your guy isn't in office. That's what pisses me off. It's not the fact that, no, I mean, Biden is working really hard. We're going to go over this tonight about the executive orders. And I got to tell you, I think out of the 30 that President Biden has put through, I think like 10 of them are coronavirus or more. Coronavirus, like
the majority are coronavirus.
The majority is coronavirus. So I mean, he's taking it seriously. Like, this is not like this is not a whatever for him.
Yeah, in order we're going coronavirus, immigration, economy, equity, census, and ethics, and then one regulation.
Fuck that regulation. Fuck that little.
Fuck that regulation.
No, but I mean, yeah, I got the whole list here as well, and I mean, I'm not going to read through all of them. We can if you want to, because some of the stuff. But I would like to really cover the stuff that he overturned, because I think that shit is pretty interesting. Like some of the stuff that he was like, okay, well, Trump said this, but I think we should do this. You know.
Well, you know, I've been talking to people about it, and people are fucking pissed, man. Oh, Biden overturned. That's what they do. When you have an executive order, you can't get it run through Congress. That's what it's there for. It's
Right.
there until the next president comes and he undoes your shit if he's from a different party. It's par for the course, is what fucking happens. Anybody who's losing their mind because Biden did executive orders is like, dude, that's what they do.
Correct.
The first day of office, they sign orders undoing everybody else's shit.
Well,
so it's their shit.
I think we could probably pull up the graph, but the amount of executive orders are like as of the last, like say 4 presidents are like breathtaking. Like the sheer amount of executive orders are just insane. Where it used to be, okay, you respected what the guy does, and we'll make rules or laws to try to push it in the direction we want it to. Now it's just like, no, fuck what you did. We're doing our own thing. You know.
Yeah, there's always a list of undoing the previous, and then
right.
But I mean, honestly, Biden was involved in putting in a lot of this stuff before Trump went in, and Trump went in there and fucking erased all that shit. So I'm sure Biden's like, yep, fuck Trump, man.
Yeah,
fuck Trump.
Hey, man, I'm sure because Biden does not mince words when it comes to Trump. I mean, he was like, Trump said something. He doesn't think it's a good idea for him to attend the inauguration, and Biden's like, that's the only thing I agree on. It's like, God damn, son.
But I mean, I'm looking forward to going through these with you, man, because like I'm not a pro Biden guy. I mean, I'm looking forward to a change in the country and seeing where it can go, but I'm not a rah Biden guy. So I haven't actually gone through this list at all. So I'm interested to really see what's on there and what you think about it. You guys in the chat room, Dennis is going to come on and talk about it. So I'm interested.
Yeah, we'll get DJ in here in a second and talk about that. Let's talk about this story here that I got pulled up. Have you heard about the National Guard in DC?
Oh yeah.
And you heard about the whole story about them, being stuck,
getting kicked out of the Capitol and put in a parking garage. Yeah,
parking garage is a big thing. They're in multiple places, like tennis courts and things like that. But yeah, parking garage, indoor tennis courts, mind you. But parking garages, and people are losing their fucking minds. And let me be clear real quick. For those of you who've been in the military who might see this in the future or who are watching this now, and you've ever deployed, understand that a parking garage is a pretty fucking lush, a Trump Tower, if you will, of fucking places to sleep.
Yeah.
The fact that we're getting up in arms about these guys being kicked to the curb, so to speak, they have absolutely not been. This is, as far as a tactical standpoint, this is the best place for them to be. They can't camp on the White House lawn. Where do you want to put them? Denny's? Like, where the fuck are we putting these guys? This is the best spot. They are covered. They are concealed. They have warmth. They have a roof over their head. So they have to sleep on cement. And most of them have their fucking, sleeping systems as well as cots and shit. So they're not, this is not an issue. If they didn't want to be upset or whatever, don't join the National Guard. What were you doing? Just like for fun, like for funsies, I'm going to join the National Guard. No, like you are the military. You're the fucking military. I'm sorry that one weekend a month, 2 weeks a year, you have to pretend to be an Army guy, and that in this particular situation, you get stuck, having to do your job for more than a weekend. I mean, sorry, fucking sorry. I don't feel the people who are like up in arms this is trying to make it political. And if you're going to make this political, you're an asshole. Sorry. Yeah,
well, I mean, I have questions about it though, man, because my office is by Chicago, and the hotel I stay at when I go in, the last couple of times I've been there have been just overtaken by National Guard. Okay. So they let people coming in. We get like the bottom floor, and their other 5 floors are all National Guard. There's vehicles everywhere. It's just a deployed Kenosha area that they're deployed around the area. So why, if that's possible there, how come? We're sleeping in garages in DC. Oh, we're not deploying to like a field. We're not deploying, overseas. We're deploying to a city that has beds. Why are we sleeping in parking garages anyway?
Well, so you have to choose then. You have to either say, one, have you ever been to DC?
Me?
Yeah.
No, but I imagine there's hotels. If
There's
I'm wrong, then fuck me.
Who's
But I imagine there's a hotel there. Huh?
Who's paying for these hotels? They're private.
The government, taxpayers, the motherfuckers who deploy them. Yeah.
So you're paying.
Yeah. I will pay for their fucking hotel. Absolutely, 100%.
No, you won't, because
100%.
technically it doesn't make sense to be in a fucking hotel as opposed to being in an open parking structure. Have you ever seen a zombie movie? Where would you rather be? Like, let's just be honest. Have you ever seen anything where it's like, oh, I think tactically I'll hide in a room or whatever?
Yeah.
Also, you have to provide that the private owner of the hotel is going to be like, yeah, cool, come on over. We'll lose a ton of money, or we'll let a bunch of Joes. Again, if you've never been in the military, Joes are disgusting people. We are disgusting. I am telling you right now, you do not want to lend out your hotel.
I'm not talking about eminent domain. I'm talking about paying for their rooms. But that's besides the point. I'm like, if we're in DC, why are we sleeping in a parking garage? Whatever. But you're right. It's political. They make a statement. And, to have photo ops where you go in there with a bunch of pizzas and you're delivering pizzas to the guys in parking garages, that is a political fucking photo op.
Sure. Well, I think at this point,
send them pizzas. Order them 100 pizzas and don't fucking show up. They don't have to know it's from you. They don't have to hug you in a picture and eating a slice of pizza. You're a piece of shit for doing that.
Let me tell you,
buy them lunch. Buy them lunch every day. Buy them lunch. Don't fucking show up like I bought you this. Give me a hug.
If you're crying about how bad these guys have it and they're having pizza parties, maybe they're not having it so fucking bad. Just saying. Yeah. Regardless of who bought their pizza, they're sitting around drinking Coke, eating pizza, crying about how bad they have it, or whoever. The other's outrage. I mean, give me.
I want to know how come I've never seen a picture of where another National Guard person has slept before. I've never seen a picture anywhere. There might be, it exists, but I've never seen the sleeping quarters of a National Guardsman who's deployed in whatever city. I've never actually seen it.
Because, they don't deploy into other cities like they have recently. And also, they sleep at their house because they do nothing.
Oh, you're not listening to me. What I'm saying is, why are we seeing pictures of where these guys are taking their naps and taking their breaks? Why do we see pictures of them in parking garages? When they deployed to Kenosha, they didn't show us where they were sleeping. When they deployed here, they didn't show us where they were sleeping. In Seattle, we didn't know where they were sleeping. Why the fuck do we know where they're sleeping in DC?
Because
for political purpose, yeah.
Political.
It's ridiculous.
Because look how bad the president, right off the bat, the president is shitting all over our military.
Yeah. Well, even Chuck Schumer was like, I'm going to find out why they're in parking garages. And I'm sure they told him, like, it kind of makes sense. And he's like,
because that's where they belong. They're fucking animals.
Well, I mean, I get it. Because they were sleeping, in the Capitol building. And I get it. At some point, you want to, change the optics back to like normal. You don't want it to appear that they're still there. They're still going to be there, but you don't want it to appear like that on TV. You can't have that.
I mean, they don't want to stay there. It's over. They have their missions they have to run. So they're staying in their headquarters, which is the parking structure, and they're still pulling guard duty. They are guards. They're mall cops. That's what the National Guard does. They're just glorified fuck. I know I'm going to get a lot of flack for this, but I'm
my brother's National Guard. That's kind of
whatever, bro. As an active duty soldier compared to a National Guard, a nasty girl, if you will, there is a huge difference. And if these people, when Josh was a Marine, right? So like he has always had these Marine Army kind of back and forths where they show the big fat Army guy and like, oh, this is the Army. And then this gung-ho Marine guy who looks like a G.I. Joe. The big fat Army guy is a National Guard person. Because they don't have to keep standards, or if they do, who cares? Or, you need to kick me out? I don't do anything anyway. Sorry, I know I'm getting a little ranty about how bad the National Guard is, but if they're the ones who are bitching about it, then they deserve it. And if they're not,
I don't even think it's them. I doubt it's them. There might be a couple. I'm sure there is.
I saw an iPhone video of a guy who was like, I never felt so kicked to the curb in my entire life.
I mean, well, you're not sleeping on a marble floor anymore. You're sleeping on a concrete floor. Sorry. I mean, you're sleeping on a floor regardless. Why? What the fuck does it matter?
Whether you want to be, I'd say kick to the curb. You're not gonna. You think they're gonna let you live in the Capitol? I mean, come on, camp. Like that just doesn't make sense.
I mean, I think this kind of stupid shit started during Trump, though, where it's like a big deal. Like this guy might have said this guy said this, and there was Trump said this about vets, and then Biden said this about vets, and it's like, and now it matters what people say about someone who's sleeping in a garage like that. Oh, this guy treats vets like this. Fuck Biden. It's his first week. Like that's not.
Yeah, it feels like they're reaching, and I think it's going to be the same thing when Biden finally misses a day of church. They're going to be like, "Oh, Biden hates Jesus."
Told you, devil.
Yeah, and it's like it's just more like reaching for stuff, and I just he literally his whole speech, his whole inauguration speech was based around unity, and the first week it's showing how bad it really is.
Well, I mean, I was talking to somebody. I'm not going to name names or anything, but I was talking to somebody about like the impeachment. Like they're one freshman congresswoman, her first fucking day, she files impeachment against Biden, and I'm like, they're like, rah rah, let's go. I'm like, no, not rah rah. Are you fucking kidding me? Like that's it. Like that's how you want to move forward. You want to show everybody that no, you're a piece of shit who's not willing to work with anybody. Like that's it. You're not working with anybody because you want to impeach the president. But
right,
this impeachment for oh my god, dude, it's so.
It really
is. I just don't know.
True, though. And Biden, out of all of the candidates that were up there for the Democratic Party, he has definitely been the most bipartisan. He's been the one who, there are liberals and there are Democrats who didn't support Biden's run for president because of some of the bills he's passed in the past and some of the stances he's taken, but it's called being bipartisan, and the fact that you have to be so pulled to one side or the other, and there is no more middle, there is no more compromise, no more negotiation. You're either a liberal or you're a conservative. Fuck everything else.
Yeah,
I had someone tell me that if you don't choose sides, then you might as well be, you're worse than the other side. And it's
fuck that person. Well, to me, I'm gonna say this to him. Fuck you, because I don't choose sides. I'm not going to. No, I'm far to the right when it comes to the fiscal side of things. I'm very far to the left when it comes to social things. Like I can't change that, but I'm not going to choose sides. I'm not going to rah Democrats and rah Republicans. Fuck that. They're all assholes. Every single one of them, motherfuckers, except Jerry. Jerry's cool. He can
Jerry
stay.
Is fantastic.
Fuck every single one of them. I don't care.
Jerry. I love Jerry. That guy. I wish I could hug him right now. Jerry's embrace is like a warm blanket out of the dryer,
I know, honestly, man, I don't like it. I don't like blankets. I don't sleep with blankets.
Jerry to you is no blanket on a cool night.
I like to have that breeze. Let's get into this thing, though, man. I've been looking at this list a little bit while you're talking. There's some interesting shit I want to talk about. So
let's get TJ in here. I've been itching to talk to him. I haven't seen him in a fortnight.
A fortnight?
I don't know.
He's not like 2 weeks.
I think it's 16 days.
Something like that. Almost 2 weeks.
Anyway, here he is.
Whoa, hey.
What's up, fellas?
Man, you still got that Eagles thing up there? You gotta trash that thing, man.
Hey, listen, man. Just because you let go of your team after what they did this year doesn't mean I'm gonna let go of mine.
They passed on more. They could have took that freshman, worthless ass offensive coordinator off my hands. They passed on him. So they're gonna.
I swear I hate Mike, bro. He was hitting me up on like Eagles fan pages that I would respond to, and
they
would just be like, "Take our coach, please take our coach." I'm like, we don't want him. Stop sending me these messages.
It's just a bunch of pictures of Dennis with his little fucking pom poms cheering on the Eagles. It's so bad. The one day he was wearing this little tutu, it was like purple and white. It was like, "Oh, Dennis, what are you doing?" He's like, "Shut up." I'm like, "Oh, sorry, man."
Did you see that picture? The last Eagles game, it was just Dennis in the audience. Like they wouldn't let anyone else in. It was just him
with his mittens.
Fucking pissed. Yeah, that sounds about right. That's pretty much what the season was. Not the tutu part, but definitely me sitting with the mittens, pissed off at the world, with a half-cocked mask. Joint was slid all the way to the side of his face.
I heard Biden was trying out for the new Black Panther. He was trying his Wakanda Forever thing. He was like,
listen, if any of these congressmen or senators get down and kneel down again, bro, I'm drop kicking just about every single.
Oh, I hope so.
I have a list. So. I swear to God,
I hope they do the Wakanda. I hope they do that too.
Yeah, I hope they do. And you're gonna see me coming out of left field, just 2 legs.
You know what's gonna happen? Like the 1 year of George Floyd, they're gonna do that shit. They're gonna kneel like on the steps of Congress,
They better not.
and they're gonna.
I hope they learn. And whoever their advisor was for social media was just like, yeah, that was. I don't know who thought of this, but please let's not do it again.
Yeah, please never fucking do that again.
Yeah, no.
First off, America's Through Rocks glass back in my day in 1770 was sent by doves, so you wouldn't even have known. So I wouldn't have sent one to your house. So there.
Yeah, I would have wrote her a fake letter. Like, no, they're fine. They're not in the parking garage. You're cool. Go home, Jeff. I did do a pigeon's leg and sent that motherfucker on.
DJ, so what do you think about Biden's first week as president? I know you're overjoyed because I know when you think how happy you could have been with, I don't know, Trump for another 4 years, and then Biden shows up and ruins it for you. Like, how do you feel about that?
Listen, they could have put a pet squirrel in office, and I would have been satisfied, to be honest. They could have put the neighbor's pet squirrel in there. But all jokes aside, it's just, huh?
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say it's been peaceful. It has been a peaceful
It has been.
week, and I like the fact that I can turn on CNN and they're actually debating issues, and they're not debating about what the fuck somebody said on Twitter, and
So I don't watch CNN. I don't watch it, but
I bounce.
I did see that Cuomo, the guy that everyone's says can't be bipartisan or whatever. He was arguing with somebody else about Trump, like saying no, Trump did give him a vaccine plan. Like, what are you talking about? He doesn't have zero to work with. So he was defending the last administration too. So it's crazy the change you see, especially on some of these, like people defending. Bill Maher is defending Trump. I mean,
yeah.
Squirrel for Chris.
Yes. But that's what I'm talking about, though. Just the fact that we can actually get back to discussing the issues. And, I've said it before. I don't ride heavily on the left side or the right side. So it's not like I'm all for Biden and I'm all in. There were some things, like you said, that, the Trump administration did do right. I did like the fact that they were arguing for, a stimulus plan to help more people, even though 600 is what passed. But there were some things that he did right. But the fact that now we're back to a place where that's the focal point, and it's not a focal point about something else, something childish is good, man. It's been an interesting week.
What I'd like to see us get back to is a point where what the president does day to day is not news. That's what I'd like to see us get back to.
Yeah.
Like what he does every day is not everything everybody's talking about. Like he said this today, and there's everybody's arguing about the 7 words he said for the rest of the day.
I think Twitter has a lot to do with it. He tweeted like there was a record. He like 56 tweets in a day or something like that. I mean, Trump was absolutely, putting all his words out there. You couldn't get away from it.
Yeah.
Which I don't think Biden is going to be that guy, mostly because he doesn't understand technology.
Well, I mean, I think there's a lot of people, myself included, when Trump came in, that looked at that like, man, having access to the president's thoughts like this really could be a cool thing. And, his flaws going in, there's people optimistic, Dustin had mentioned too optimistic that, he might grow into the office and become something different, become a president. To see that kind of access would be cool. But the way he did it and the way it worked out was just fucking disappointing. It really was.
No, that shit slid smooth downhill.
Yeah.
Well, you're right. He definitely started out as, not a politician because he was very transparent. But then when you got like kind of into the nitty gritty of it, it didn't really feel transparent anymore. It felt like he was showing you what he wanted you to see, which again,
a good salesperson.
I'd say like the first year of his presidency, I wouldn't say I defended him, but I definitely tried to give him the benefit of the doubt. I was like, listen, he's not a politician, so maybe that's exactly what we need. I didn't fall for it hook, line, and sinker with the whole not a politician drain the swamp thing, but I definitely was like, he's our president, whether you like it or not. You can't be like, here's not my president, bitch. He's your president. Doesn't matter.
And for me at that, as soon as he punted on healthcare, for me, I'm like, give me somebody else to vote for. You know what I mean? And if somebody would have primaried him in the Republican Party, I would have voted for that motherfucker. I mean, to give me somebody else to vote for. And the fact that we got Biden, whatever, it's here or there. I didn't like Biden, so I didn't vote for Biden either. But I'm looking forward to what it could be. So I always, give him a chance and see what we can do. I'm
I
optimistic.
think there was only one true moment in Trump's presidency where I was like, okay, I can respect what you're doing. Like I appreciate what's coming out of your mouth right now, and that's when they were discussing the stimulus, the whole stimulus relief package, and he did that whole presentation where he talked about all the things that were specifically in that plan, so that people who aren't looking at it, that are thinking, oh, they're just blocking the bill because they don't want people to get money, having insight on what else was packaged with it and why he doesn't agree with it. I mean,
those kind of things, those kind of issues, were attractive as far as Trump for me, because, I'm more conservative on that side. So I'm like, why are we giving all this foreign aid when we're poor? Why are we doing this? Why is our tax money going out there? That was a problem for me. But I mean, still the shit that happened with Trump for me was like, no, I can't. I can't ride this train.
It was already too late. He had dug himself such a hole that to me, it didn't matter what good he had to say after everything that he didn't do. And even the first time around, like I said it, I think a couple times ago when I was on, that when does it stop becoming a political, he's a politician, he's not a politician, or we need somebody with experience, and it comes down to your character and who you are as a person. He did so many things during the course of his coming in to get people's votes that was just so wrong that there's nothing that he could have said like that would have led me in my head to be like, the change that he's going to bring to us is going to be good.
Yeah.
It was just tainted.
I've never looked at the president as the person who runs the country. I mean, it should be their cabinet. It's their cabinet that runs the country, that makes it, all the departments, all the heads of departments. That's really what runs the country. And Trump really ran every fucking department. Like, he macromanaged the whole government. And dude, I fucking hate a micromanager. I really do. You know what I mean? It was every time someone made a decision, he would undercut them, or they'd say something. He'd be like, no, fuck that. It's like, dude, like, let your people.
Or take credit for it. It's like, we don't need you to look for a virtual worldwide pat on the back for some shit that we elected you to do, or that people elected you to do. That's not what you should be looking for.
Mike, you brought up a really interesting point about the cabinets and the executive branch and that whole, like, his people, not the Congress or Senate.
Yeah.
So let's get into this into these executive orders, because that brings me to a first one that I thought was really interesting, and that he actually went on record, and people have quoted him since then. But on the 20th, he signed 17 executive orders, and one of them was requires executive branch appointees to sign an ethics pledge, barring them from acting in personal interests and requiring them to uphold the independence of the Department of Justice. So in that, he also gave a little speech to his incoming people. And I'm going to paraphrase because I don't know exactly.
Yeah, if you're a dick, I'm going to fire you.
On the spot.
Yeah.
Like, he basically put his finger in everybody's chest and said, if you use this office for personal gain, or you disrespect anyone else in this office, you will no longer work here the minute I find out.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a breath of fresh air. The fact that he is just hands down, I'm not going to fuck around with you. I'm not dealing with this nonsense anymore. We are public servants. Let's start acting like it. I thought that was refreshing, and whether or not he holds up to it, but he thought it through well enough that he wanted to write an order about it. And
I mean, you're right though. I mean, whether or not he holds up on it, but that's irrelevant, because that's the messaging you're sending to people. You know what I mean? Whether or not he could be corrupt as fuck, who knows? There's investigations. Everyone just say, oh, the laptop. There's shit that people don't know yet. So cool, whatever. Whether or not he holds up on it still, but it's the messaging you're sending. You're like, listen, we're not putting up with this shit, blah, blah, blah. It's what you're sending people and what you're showing people. It's like unity. Like, we're not having corruption. We're going to start this right now. So I think it's really good for the country, what he's doing with that, 100%.
Yeah. What do you think?
It just preaches a message of accountability that we seem to be lacking for the past 4 years, which is great. I mean, that's all you can ask for. Like you said, we can't go up there and physically make sure that people are being held to a certain standard. But I think that everybody kind of across the board, after how bad it got with the rioting and people going into the Capitol, I think everybody kind of on both sides was like, oh shit, yeah, we got to do something to get this together because
Yeah,
this
it was
this
him
was yeah.
clearly signaling a change because he pretty much said like, this is how I think Trump is. If you act like this, you can't even work in my government, let alone run my government. So I mean, I don't know. It was good.
Yeah, whatever. I agree. I don't think that I think that's pretty self-explanatory. I mean, I don't think that it's definitely a bad thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's people want the government run like a business, and every business I've worked at for a long time, I got to sign. I got to do ethics paperwork. I got to sign code of ethics. I got to do ethics training. So they're running it like a government, like making sure everyone's going to be on the same ethics. It makes sense.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, and generally speaking, you should just try not to be a dick to each other. I mean,
I disagree. I disagree. I like it a little bit, but
dick. I heard that.
I do.
So
we can't joke like that under Biden's administration, man. You got to watch that shit.
All right, listen, I am
Fucking
very
fired.
Biden. We are basically best friends. Everyone knows that.
Let's talk about this pipeline, man.
Yeah, let's talk about.
Let's talk about this fucking pipeline.
I know you've been itching to talk about this fucking pipeline because
you are not going to believe my take on this, but I want your take first, D. What do you think, man? Dennis, not Dustin. I don't care about him. His beard's
So was this an executive order that went into place? Because I haven't had the opportunity to read.
He cut off the Keystone pipeline, so he canceled the permit.
So
immediately
he canceled the Keystone. This is the exact thing. He cancels the Keystone XL pipeline and directs agencies to review and reverse more than 100 Trump actions on the environment. So it's an environmental executive action.
But the other things, the 100 things, they're not really bringing up. It might be meaningless shit like, we can only rake red leaves on Tuesdays. So it might be something meaningless. That's why they didn't put it up there. But the one that sticks out is the pipeline. So let's get with that one, man. What do you think about that? Honestly, cut out that pipeline.
I mean, I'm happy about it because there was definitely a big fuss about what was going to happen and who was going to be affected. And of course, oh my god, she got issues. That's funny as hell.
It's the truth. It's the truth, though.
But there were a lot of issues surrounding that about, ethics and who it was going to affect and the fact that we kind of put a pause on it. Maybe there's a better way to handle it and a better way to go about it. The fact that at least there's a pause for it at the moment is good. I don't think they should have went through it the first time, but like I said, it's not my administration, so I can't tell people what to do or what not to do.
Well, it's your country.
Yeah, it's your country. And your opinion, is definitely something that we want about it. But I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of people that are like, okay, 10,000 people lost their job overnight and, people laid off, union people are laid off. So they're making a big political scene out of it. I look at it a little bit differently.
So,
they're going to go ahead.
No, my thought is obviously I'm not a fan of the Keystone XL, but not for the reasons that maybe people might think. I don't like it going through indigenous lands. I don't like the idea that there's hundreds of miles of pipeline that could be exposed or could leak and we wouldn't know about it, either underground or what have you. Mm-hmm. Accidents happen. It doesn't matter. I mean, everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face. Ask McGregor. You know what I mean? Like,
did you watch that shit? Oh my god!
Everyone's got a fucking plan until they don't, and that's what the Keystone Pipeline. And the problem with that is it could be belching out, thousands upon thousands of gallons of oil or barrels of oil onto, indigenous lands. That lands that we kind of toss to these people in a afterthought. That being said, I don't mind being energy independent, right? So we're not buying our oil from the Saudis or whoever. If we can produce it ourselves, sure, fine, let's do it. I don't have a problem with that. I'm not a fan of fossil fuels if we have another option, but right now we don't. So this is where we're at. Yeah. There's no argument. Okay, we have fossil fuel. Let's use fossil fuel. I'm not going to stop driving my truck because I suddenly don't want the Keystone XL pipeline.
Even Biden said that in I think it was a second debate. Like, obviously, I can't get rid of oil. We're not there yet. We don't have the stuff to replace it yet. So even he said that. But I mean, I don't know. The XL pipeline is important. It's 800,000 barrels a day can move through it. We're going to see our energy go up as far as price because we don't have it. But aside from that, they're going to find jobs. They're pipeliners. There's pipelines to build. They're going to find jobs. The idea of making it a political thing because people lost their jobs. Yeah, they did. It happens all the time. I've been in the oil field. I've lost my jobs because the politics went right. Honestly, it happens. When you're in that industry, they fucking knew a month ago if Biden wins that we're not going to have jobs. That in that industry. But I mean, you're right though.
We're not going to have jobs.
No, yeah, true. It's true.
Some jobs might be lost, but they're not just going to suddenly just fire everyone in the fossil fuel industry.
Exactly.
No, I'm talking about the guys that were working on that pipeline. They fucking knew it. No, I'm not saying everybody in the oil industry is losing their jobs since Biden's elected. I don't know what his policy is going to be yet. I could tell you in a month probably how bad it's going to be.
If you're going to politicize one side of it, like you said, the whole people are going to lose their jobs and stuff. Where does the outrage come for the other end, like Dustin was saying? And that's what I was kind of hitting at, like people having discrepancies or issues with the pipeline going in. Like
it's selective outrage.
Hasn't there been enough done to indigenous people to where we don't need to shit on them, including on putting a pipeline right through their fucking land that could cause them toxic issues or whatever the case may be? Like when is enough? It's bad enough you already pushed them to a selected part of land, but now you're like, well, we're going to do this and you don't have a say in it.
Not even toxic issues, but if the pipeline was completely healthy and it gave everyone giant dicks, it wouldn't matter. You're driving it through their fucking house. I don't want a giant dick giving truck driven through my house.
Well, exactly. Well,
I'll go down to the corner and buy it like the next guy. I don't want to have it driven through my fucking house.
Yeah.
Well, the problem they run into in the States that they don't run into in Canada is, everything's private. So if you can't build your pipeline on private land, then you can take ownership of indigenous land, whatever. It's wrong, but I mean, it's a pipe. You can run, it doesn't matter what direction it goes. It can zigzag all across the fucking country, and the shit's still going to get there. You don't have to go through their fucking reservation. It does cost more. It does. I'm sorry, but if you want the oil there, you got to fucking pay for it.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is they're not going to pay an extra $100 billion to reroute a pipeline around indigenous lands if they can just pass laws or push, the government to just allow them to do it. And that's what they did with them. They're like, listen, we're just going to do this. We're not paying the money. And he's like, yeah, dope, whatever. Like, you don't care.
Yeah.
And
there's the alternatives like Justin brought up, like, why do we need to bring Canadian oil through? It's to refine it, but the alternative is to build closer refineries. And I guess you don't want refineries there because they're dirty and nasty, but instead of moving the oil across the country, refine it.
Yeah.
Instead of sending it to refineries. I don't know. There's other options.
Right.
But I mean, everybody fucking knew this was going to happen because Trump approved it on day one. Obama slowed it down and then Trump approved it on day one. So of course Biden's going to get rid of it on day one.
I'm sorry. I'm trying to focus on our conversation, but there's some people in our comments that are about to get fucking banned.
Lighten that shit up.
They're just roasting the shit out of Mike, and I can't stop.
Oh, I'm watching. I just don't care. I don't know what it means. Mike wants to reroute your pipeline. Like, I'm trying to figure out like what that could possibly mean. And honestly, I'm not a fucking serial killer. Like, I really don't know. Like, I don't know how to be offended. But if I'm going to get roasted, it's not going to be about rerouting a pipeline. I can promise you. I don't even know what that means.
Your mind up there laughing. You're crying, laughing upstairs. Oh, I'm crying. Anyway, all right, let's get back. Let's get this fucking rail trail. Get the thing back on the rail trail.
Oh my god.
So
I hear her literally from over here. I swear to God, I hear her.
She's losing her mind. So the expansion of immigration enforcement tied in with the allowing travel through Muslim majority countries, as well as the halt of the border wall. I mean, these are all separate ones, as well as DACA and tons of things like that. He kind of went crazy as far as immigration goes, and I don't mean crazy in a bad way. I mean like crazy, like he's like reversing a lot of things that Trump did.
Did you know that build the wall was not even Trump's idea?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, it was one of his campaign aides said it, and Trump latched onto it, and that became build the wall and have Mexico pay for it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a documentary on Netflix that tells all about it. Yeah, for real.
I'm kidding. I'll have to
Watch it. I think it's called Trump on Netflix.
Oh, I don't want that to be in my history.
I was just about to say, is there a way that we can get around that? Like watch it without having to type it in or say it into the remote, so they don't have me on camera saying, "Man, he supports Trump."
Fucking the history of Voldemort.
Yeah, for real, he must not be named. All right, the documentary popped up. Cool.
No, but I think that's a really interesting. I think it's a really interesting take, and I think it didn't get as much blowback as I was expecting. The lifting the travel ban from Muslim countries and stopping the wall from being built, I honestly had thought that was going to be a large portion of Republican talking points. And honestly, I haven't heard a single thing. Like, I just haven't really, because it was such a big deal for such a long time. Build that wall, like or they're bringing in, terrorists from all these countries. Trump stopped the terrorists. I honestly thought that this would be a huge talking point, and it really is.
I mean, that the wall thing, was a playbook out of the Nazis, honestly, because I'm not saying Trump's a Nazi, and I'm not saying Republicans are Nazis. I'm not saying that shit. So anyone that wants to jump my ass, fuck you. But I'm not saying.
Are you saying all Republicans are Nazis?
Yeah. So the scapegoating, finding a population of people to blame for your problems.
True.
I mean. You can even see it today with the way some of the Democrat side or the far left side is trying to hold Republicans. Everyone who ever voted for Trump is the reason your country's fucked. It's the same thing that goes on everywhere, but that you can't scapegoat it and blame, illegal Mexicans for ruining your country. And he did that, and people voted for him for it. So that's kind of scary.
Listen, man,
that's when you come out and you say that Mexicans are bringing over their worst, and they're bringing over their rapists and murderers and drug dealers and that's.
But that's the country we live in, right? That's the atmosphere, the environment.
But there is, there's rapists that come over, and there's murderers that come over, and there's child abusers that come over, and then there's like dads and moms.
And you literally have the same thing going on here.
I'm sure Dora came over at some point. I mean, it's not. They're not all that way, but that's what you talk about. You're scapegoating those people. You're making those people the enemy, and it's a bad thing to do.
Well, you generalize the population too. I mean, you can't in one breath be like, not you personally, but him. They're bringing over their worst, their rapists, their child molesters, and this and that, and then turn around and be like, but they're also bringing their dads. Nobody's gonna remember the fact they're bringing their fucking dads. They're gonna remember all the fucked up shit. They're gonna remember all the generalizations you gave. And then at the end of the day, that's how they're going to be seen and treated.
Like I've had conversations with people who have jumped the border, and we're walking through the desert. And, they're like, where's the highway? I'm like, dude, it's fucking 25 miles that way. Here's some water. Like they weren't trying to rape me. They were just trying to get to a road.
Oh, so you're a coyote? No kidding.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I used to work by the border in Texas. So I
smuggling people across the border like a real coyote.
No, I throw a bottle of water though, man. Fuck, it's hot out there, man.
I'm telling
I lived out in Arizona, near the border, because we lived on base, Fort Huachuca, in Arizona, and I mean the same thing. Like you see people coming through, or you see border patrol fucking everywhere.
Border patrol, you get stopped all the time.
All the time. I mean, you see them fucking everywhere.
There was one I used to go down called Old Mines Road. It was by Laredo, Texas, and that was a crossing point, and you border patrol all day, just flying up and down. They'd check your truck, like whatever. And you'd see them. You'd see the guys walk in. You see a group of people walk in, and you throw them a bottle of water because it's bad. It's 120 degrees out there, and they're walking through the desert. You feel bad for them, But at the same time, you're told, don't stop. If someone tries to stop you, don't fucking stop, because there has been cases of they've stopped and people have killed them and taken their trucks. So there is assholes, and there is murderers, and there is rapists, but they're not all that way, man. Some guys just want a fucking bottle of water.
True. Very true. So then we're on board, is what you're saying.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't care. I'm not. Listen, I wasn't like we have to have a wall. I've never been like a raw wall guy. There's been Trump things that I've agreed with, but having a wall is not one. Border security, yeah. I don't think we should have open borders at all. I don't think you need a wall to do it.
I thought you said you liked walls.
Me?
Yeah, you said you liked. You like playing with walls and walls slapping you in the face and walls in your hands?
No. Balls. Balls.
I'm getting older. I don't hear very well.
It's either you or I'm getting smush mouth. It's one or the other.
Oh my god.
All right. So hey, so what about here? Let's keep it rolling. The prevents workplace discrimination on the basis of sexual orientation or gender identity.
That's a stupid fucking rule.
Yeah.
Move
Right.
on.
Okay. Whatever. That's whatever.
Okay.
Yeah. We're on board because what kind of asshole wouldn't be, right?
Yeah.
That wasn't a reversal. That was just him putting it forward. But here, let's go to another reversal here. Rejoins the Paris Climate Accord in 30 days.
That was a big political move when he got elected. I honestly don't know much about it. I was pretty busy at the time that Trump was moving up to, when the Paris thing was happening, whatever. I really don't know anything about it. So I don't know anything about it.
It's I'm gonna glaze over it pretty quickly.
So like, don't pollute and we'll be fine.
Not really that. It's more about countries coming, the major countries, the mega countries, China, us, India, things like that, moving forward and promising to lower our carbon footprint, among many other things. So don't come at me. I know there's more to it, but basically we were saying that we were going to give more money than other countries, including. Oh, nice. Yeah, I got to get it. More money, including China, who was going to give almost no money, very little. Like you could give X amount of dollars. You had to give X amount of dollars, but you could give more. And we were the only country that was giving so much more. We were giving a ton of money, but we also have the biggest economy. So, it's difficult to kind of argue that point. But I think rejoining the Paris Climate Accord is a smart move.
Anything that is going to preserve our Earth for the people that we leave after us is a good thing. I don't know why the fuck through this administration, this last 4 years, people are just ignoring the fact that there are really, based on what we're doing with pollution and these big companies and depleting the ozone layer and all that, it's not smart to be a part of an organization that's trying to counteract that. I for the life of me, do not understand. Because it's all real. I mean, the fact that we barely have winters in certain parts of the world, like Maryland's weather is so weird because of the way that the climate is and the way that things have gone with pollution and all that. Oh snap!
Yeah, I'm about to build them cannonballs.
I mean, listen. There's an argument to be made on both sides of the climate thing. That could be, it's a natural cycle. Our climate is definitely going to be in a warming and cooling cycle. It happens. That's proves it's evidence. But no, it's true. It's true. But there's also, we could be having a lot to do with it. So we could be making it, a lot worse. So it's worth looking at. And, anyone who's like, oh, it's natural. Well, you're dismissing the whole other side where, we can obviously be making things fucking worse. If you're going to close your mind to it and say climate change doesn't exist, then I don't have to do with you anymore.
Well, the only thing that I'll vary on what you said is I don't think it's a could. I think it's a we are. I don't really think it's a could or a could not. I mean,
obviously. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Going to the earth based on the decisions and the way that we're using different, pollutants.
Have you ever seen the plastic thing in the ocean? Like the plastic island?
The island? Yeah. Garbage island.
Like, what the fuck? Yeah, of course we're causing problems. Anyone who says differently is a dumbass. And, trying to solve it, no one really knows, but at least someone's trying, whatever. If we've got to pay money for it, who cares? At this point, who gives a shit? Because
this
is good money. Well, I'm not saying let's wait a year then pay money. I'm saying let's pay some money right now. Who gives a shit? That's what I'm saying.
Well, yeah.
Who gives a shit if we're paying for it?
But I just like being a part of an organization where you're working hand in hand with other countries to try to make it better.
Absolutely.
I'd like to know who
one area makes it better.
If John Kerry's in charge, then I'm not interested. I'm sorry, he's the climate czar or whatever.
Isn't he still hunting man bear pig?
Yeah, that guy's face is so long. It is absolutely unbelievable.
I like how that's why I don't like him. His face is long.
He looks like the fucking hobgoblin from Spider-Man. Are you kidding me? He should be throwing pumpkins. You what?
I said the bike seat face. You ever seen somebody that's just got that long
Exactly.
face? The bike.
I just think of every time I see Carrie, I think of the peanut butter jelly time guy singing with the giant banana. That's all I can see is his fucking face. But I mean, whatever. We're rejoining the Paris Climate Accords. What could it hurt? We're already, dude, the money we spent under Trump, if anybody complains about the money we're spending, it's like, well, why are you complaining? Because Trump spent a fuck ton of money.
It doesn't really
wasn't exactly
debt forever.
He didn't say let's stop spending money. He had no problem spending money. So let's not talk about that.
What do you feel about him extending the existing pause on student loan payments and interest for Americans with federal student loans until September 30th?
Yeah,
I'm sure you have.
That's a question. Is that good for the country or good for me? That's like really what I'd like to know. It's really good for me. I'm socialist as a motherfucker when it helps me. I don't care. I don't give a shit. You send me a check, I'm gonna cash that motherfucker every day. I don't care. I don't care. If you're giving me shit, dude, I'm gonna take it. Whatever. What? I get free cheese next week, I'm going to get my cheese. I don't give a shit.
Nah, I think it's of course good for people, including me. Thank God. Just pause those fucking interests on those payments, man, because it also gives time for people to catch up. Let me put it this way: if I am paying on my student loans, and every monthly payment that I make, which most people aren't paying what they're asking you to pay, most people ain't paying $600-700 out of pocket, which is what you really need to do in order to make a significant difference in your student loan payments. If I'm trying to make payments and every month they're just kicking my ass with fucking interest, I'm going to see less and less and more of a reason to pay it. Like, if I'm not even paying towards the actual fucking loan, I'm just paying the interest on the loan. But now it's giving those people who are actually trying to pay something an opportunity to actually pay the loan without worrying about the number going down and then the number rising back up. And then B, the people who can't fucking pay it because of whatever reason, if they got laid off or having trouble finding a job because of everything that's going on, it gives them time without penalty to make those payments.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I agree. And I mean, honestly, if you look at our system in general, it's not the same as other countries. Like, you come out of college so in debt, you're working 20 years to pay off your student debt. I mean, you start off in the negative. So, I mean, anything we can do to change that, whatever, if we got to pay back all this shit, you signed your loan, come on, man. I know we did. We didn't have a choice. Everybody who signed a student loan had that option, or don't go to college. You didn't sign a student loan because you're like, fuck yeah, dude, let's go. Like, you had to. You didn't have a choice.
Or you didn't get the education.
So if we gotta forgive that debt to start, and then maybe build towards a different system where it's not education for profit. We're not talking about $60,000 tuitions and shit. Like, come on, what's wrong with that?
Yeah, some a fucking year. Like, not even for a 4-year period, but.
Oh, you guys all froze. Okay.
For school. So, am I back?
Yeah, you're back now. You're cool.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Some people it's $40,000 a year or $60,000 a year, depending on where the fuck you're going. So, by the time you get done with it, especially if you talking about not just stopping at an undergrad degree, but master's and PhD, because that's my field. Like, you see this all the time. Like, these kids, they're like, I have to get out now, and they're stressing themselves out to the point of anxiety because they're like, I can't get any more loans. Like, there's nothing else I can do after this point, or I won't be able to pay for school and I won't be able to finish. And it's like, goddamn, the fact that you got to go an arm, knee, and neck into debt just to get your education to come out and make a job
education.
that,
and we're not talking about going to Harvard. We're not talking about Stanford. We're talking about a regular college like Eastern, Michigan University. You go into lifelong debt to get a degree from Eastern. Like, it's not U of M, it's not Stanford, it's not all this other shit. You fuck yourself so hard to try to put yourself ahead, and it's a really bad system in our country. And yeah, we signed loans, and yeah, we agreed to pay it, and yeah, that's the system we have. But let's fucking change it. And Kate just said join the military because you can get rid of student debt, or the GI Bill. Everyone can't do that.
Well, I think what she's saying is like you have no choice because like you have no choice but to join the military.
You're right. You're right.
Which is true. I mean, it's like some people they obviously have never wanted to be in the military, but they have $50,000 worth of debt and they make $12 an hour. It's never gonna happen.
But then it's like you have to literally go under contract to pay off a loan in order to sustain a life of living. But in order to do that, I essentially, and I'm not knocking the military. My dad was in the military for 40 years. Stepdad was in it for 20.
Those guys are assholes.
Yeah, I bet.
Military guys are assholes.
Fuck every one of them. They're all they need to
All
go
of
sleep
them.
in a fucking
All of them.
garage.
Man,
They
put
all
them in
did
the
it for their
garage.
own reasons. But to say that you have to sign a contract, which pretty much will move you to wherever they tell you to move to, go where they tell you to go, do what they tell you to do, whatever the case may be, in order just to get an education for free, it's fucking
Yeah.
outlandish. I mean,
I
you
mean,
shouldn't have to do that.
Jess brought up a good point too, because it's you have experience versus your education on paper, and as the job market tightens, it gets more like I have to have a degree, you have to have a degree, and everything I have is experience. I don't have an education. I have a high school diploma. I have a high paying job. I'm in a good position because of my experience, and at a point that's not going to matter anymore. Because the job market contracts, my experience means less and less and less. They just want that fucking paper. And, for me in my job, it costs more to get that paper than I can make doing my job. And it blows my mind that this is the system we're in. And then everybody's like, listen, if you signed your loan, fuck you. We're not going to help you. You just drown in your debt.
Oh, what fucking kills me is is the argument that you're making that, of course, people are requiring more and more degrees in order to do what you're doing. Some people get grandfathered in where if you're with the company and you've worked, there are a certain amount of time you don't have the degrees, you can move through. Like UPS is still like that. A lot of those types of jobs.
Yeah, I've been grandfathered.
Have a degree until
my last job, I got
right.
grandfathered. Yeah.
So which is beneficial for those who have been working, but it also means that you have to probably stay with that company because if you try to go somewhere else, they're gonna be looking for stuff.
Yeah.
But what I hate is this: is like you will find jobs that will pay you $15 an hour, and you're reading the description of what they're asking you to do, which is always so fucking broad. And then the experience, they say we want you to have a bachelor's degree and like 10 years of experience.
Yeah.
Well, I just got out of college and you're asking for $15 an hour and you're expecting me to have not only the fucking degree that I just got, but 10 years of experience. So you won't hire me for that job, but then you'll want me to get experience. How the fuck am I supposed to get a job then? So
Exactly.
what did I sit here for 4 years? Or most people on average, I think they said the average that students stay in school now is 5 years, 4.5 to 5 years. So what did I do all that for if I'm getting out here and then I can't even get a fucking job that's going to sustain me? Like, yeah. It's just so contradictory.
Well, I mean, I think more and more people are seeing the value of doing different things like trade jobs. You can go 4 years and learn a trade and make $80,000, $90,000 a year, and you get paid for your apprenticeship. I think once that takes hold and people realize that that's a viable option, it's going to force college to change. Because if you can make that much money and not go in debt, people are going to stop doing it.
So let's. I mean, we're kind of running out of time here. The last thing he signed before signing off on Friday was he restored collective bargaining power and worker protections for federal workers, and then he laid the foundation for a $15 minimum wage. So the reason I'm hit and miss with that is that anyone who's making over $15 an hour, like say you're making $15.25.
Is not getting a raise.
You're not getting a raise.
It's not getting a raise.
So I don't make salary. I make hourly. Anyone who I make significant amount of money over, like say my dishwasher.
Busboy.
What's that?
Busboy, dishwasher.
Yeah, exactly. Say they make $11 an hour or whatever minimum wage is now, $11.75, whatever it is. And I'm making 15 and a nickel. Now they're making $15 an hour, and they certainly aren't going to give me a raise because they don't have to. Because now this company has taken the hit of raising all these salaries,
and they are not going to give that dishwasher your responsibilities either.
No,
they are not going to start being accountable for what you do.
Right. So the problem with minimum wages is that you either have to hope that you work for a place that will raise all of the salaries the same amount, or quit.
Yeah.
And go get another
job.
And
well, that's the big argument against it, because as soon as that happens, as soon as the minimum wage gets doubled, my value goes down.
Right.
You know, because I'm paid for my knowledge. I'm paid for what I know how to do. You know what I mean? That's why I get paid more than minimum wage. That's why I get paid the rate I get is because of what I can offer the company.
Correct.
And as soon as, you know, the guy who takes the trash out, and listen, I've taken trash out. I've swept floors. I was a janitor at a gym. I'm not dogging anybody who does that work because you do what you fucking have to do.
Nope, absolutely
Okay,
not.
I'm not dogging that, but it's not a $15 an hour job if you compared to what I have. You know, if you get 15 and mine goes up to $10 an hour difference or $6, whatever it is difference, then okay, whatever. But at that point, you're not affecting any change anyway. So it's really, you know, it's a hard one to really get a good feel on until you do it and then see what happens, honestly.
I think it's going to be a mixed bag. I think for, you know, people like Dustin said that are in those predicaments, it's not going to be seen as a good thing. But, you know, you can't expect for the rates and prices for things to keep going up and people to still be able to sustain with numbers that are literally staying where they're at. There's just no way to make it. And they said there's no way to live on minimum wage, you know, even with a full-time job. I mean, it's fucking impossible. So yeah, it sucks for people that may be making 15 and may not get a raise now. But when you're talking about for the greater good, you know, the mass amount of people that can't fucking make it because of the fact that I'm making how much is minimum wage now? Is it 10?
Like 7.25.
It's state by state. It's 11 something here.
So 11 in Colorado,
California.
7.25. Mike, you're in what, Michigan?
Yeah, it's like 7.25 here.
7.25.
But
Who
I mean,
the fuck is going to be able to live off 7.25 for 40 hours a week?
my point of that is like, dude,
crazy.
I make several times more than minimum wage, and I'm not on easy street. Like financially is a struggle for me. You know what I mean? Like, how is somebody who makes $7 an hour or even 10.90? Justin, thank you. Listen, guys, we're not the news. If I'm wrong on my facts, I really don't give a shit.
Fuck you.
Fuck you. Fuck you. If I'm wrong, you know, put a link on there and go fuck yourself.
The argument isn't whether or not you can survive on minimum wage because you can't.
You can't. You
There's
fucking
no
clearly can't.
The argument is the people who are making slightly over minimum wage, do they deserve a raise as well? Or do they have to just take it as, well, at least I'm helping out my buddy or whoever, and they're getting more money? You know, where does that devalue me?
Yeah.
But here's the thing, even with the jobs that I've worked where I've gotten raises, it was never anything significant where I'm like, oh my God, this is going to change my fucking life standing forever. Like I remember I was working at Best Buy or some shit like that full time, and I got a raise and it was like 50 cents. And the manager looked at me and he's like, aren't you happy with that? And I just looked at him and I'm like, are you fucking stupid? Like it's 50 cents. Like all you're gonna do is tax it back, and I'm not gonna see it. So what the fuck would I be excited for?
Where'd you work at? Where'd you work at?
This is Best Buy.
So you made like $8 an hour. Pretty much.
It was a little bit more than $8 an hour.
Oh, it must have been late. I worked there in 03, so it must have been
He's much younger than us.
Listen to this, man. A couple of years ago, I was working for a different company, making a lot more than $10 an hour. And I'm driving. I had another guy in the truck with me. I was training him. And I got a call from my boss. He's like, are you alone? I'm like, no, man, I got Tom in the truck. And he goes, hey, get where you're alone. And he gives me this speech like, hey, man, you've been doing a really good job. You know, we want to appreciate you. We're going to go and give you a raise. It was like 37 cents. And I fucking laughed.
I'd have been like, you really pulled me out of my truck. You had me pull over on the side of the road, get out of the truck, and stand out here like I'm waiting for fucking AAA for 30 cents.
And you gave me a quarter?
Listen.
My manager really took me to the back room to say this shit, though. Like, table to table, nice conversation, paperwork laid out. You know, you've been doing a pretty good job. So here's that 50-cent raise. Aren't you happy? The fuck?
Oh, I'm not happy.
This
those
is
things
not
that you guys are
noodles and noodles, sir. I'm still
those
eating
things
noodles.
that you guys are joking about and stuff right now, that's the shit I'm living right now. So my last raise was 40 cents. And
that's what I'm saying.
Let me tell you, they said that you can't have another raise for a year, period.
Did they tell you did a good job and you earned it?
They said that, yeah, basically it was basically like we fought and argued with HR to get you as much money as we could. And it was like 47 cents.
We argued and fought with HR.
And it was more than what HR was going to give me.
So you telling me that you two motherfuckers sat in a room and had an arm wrestling contest for who was going to give me 47 or 37 cents?
What I'm telling you is that it's one of those things where now that the minimum wage is being raised to $15 an hour, it takes my 20 years of cooking experience and makes it as affordable as a dishwasher.
So you know that 40 cents you're bitching about is like $800 over the course of the year. Like, what kind of shit is that? Like,
well,
that's nothing.
And Colorado has incredibly high taxes, so it's probably closer to $300.
Yeah, I'm gonna hope you can help pay your cable bill in December with your raise.
So
buddy.
really,
good work.
I guess my question is like, if you're arguing that on that side, and you know that there's somebody that's making significantly less, and you're saying right now, like, I'm making 15.55 or whatever it is now, and I'm struggling. If I'm only gonna see a 30-cent raise every year, am I really that concerned with the fact that now that somebody who's making significantly less than me is now making 15?
So what's really interesting is that I've actually this exact conversation has happened. Me and a buddy I work with who started as a dishwasher, learned the ropes, blah blah blah. Turns out that in about 2.5 years he'd never gotten a raise.
Damn.
He had found out, like but he was young, real young. He started when he was 16 washing dishes. You know, he didn't really want to be like whatever, or maybe older than that, maybe 18. But you know, as time went on, we were like, hey man, you know, like, how come you only make so little bit of money? Like, we kind of talked about it, and he was like, oh, I just never got a raise. It's like, we're gonna get you a raise, like that kind of thing. I don't care what it takes. Me and my buddies, like the other guys who worked there, were like, we're getting you a raise. I don't care what it takes. He got a very significant raise, like a couple bucks. Mm-hmm. At the same time, I got my raise, which was 47 cents. They justified it because he hadn't gotten a raise in a few years, and that's how it works. And I'm totally happy for him. That being said, I also have degrees in culinary arts. I've been doing that. I'm 40 years old. I have a military background. I've been doing this a long time. And now that we make within $1 or so of each other, it's saying that my life experience is only worth $1 more than his. And that's not the fact that I'm trying to step on him. I want him to make the money he deserves, but I also want to make the money I deserve.
Yeah.
But let me ask you. So, oh, my bad. Go ahead, Mike.
I would say that's the problem with it, though, man. Is because, you know, everyone's so focused on theirs, and it's such a struggle to get yours, man. It's a fight. You know, listen, before, you know, I got into doing electrical work and got in the oil field, I cleaned gyms for $7 an hour. And, you know, every week I brought home like $300. And that was, you know, what I made until I moved across the country, got into an industry, and, you know, died working. You know, worked as many hours as I can fucking work until I just couldn't stand anymore, you know. But man, getting people to buy into caring what somebody else makes, you know, and Kate made a good point. I put it up there a second ago, you know, that's why you tell each other what we make. But I worked at companies where if you tell somebody what you make, you're fired on the spot. Mm-hmm. Fired on the fucking spot.
You take away their power that way.
Yeah. Yeah, well, they can bring in people, their hiring power, because they have to hire higher than you're getting paid. So they bring in new people, and it's a year later. Yeah, they have to pay. You know, if I get 14, that guy gets 14.25, and they don't want me fucking pissed off that I'm training the guy making more than me. And that's just how it works. Like, you train people who make more than you every fucking time. And yeah, it's hostile. I agree completely, Kate. It's like 100% hostile. But that's the way it works. They don't want people to know how much each other makes, so they can fuck.
Shouldn't it be like? Because I guess I get where the frustration would lie in the conversation that Dustin brought up, but wouldn't it also then be a discussion about the infrastructure of businesses more than somebody now making a livable wage? Like, because at the end of the day, Dustin, say that I was making 15.25 and then somebody starts making 15, even if I'm not getting any raises anymore, my raises that I were getting wasn't even significant to turn the tide before this shit changed. So when does it become a shift in, like, trying to hold businesses accountable, or like Kate said, having discussions with coworkers about how much people make, or going in and knowing what your worth is and demanding what you need to get paid, or not taking the job, instead of feeling like you need to take what they can give you because you need a job, or whatever the case may be. That's always kind of my argument and question, because at the end of the day, 47 cents is not, like Mike said, it's $800 probably over the course of a year, and really they're going to raise the amount that they're taking out on taxes. You're not going to get anything. Yeah. That's in place even before any of this other stuff comes up, before any of this other stuff comes into action. So really, it's a problem with the way that businesses handle their employees more than somebody else now making a wage where they can have a chance at living somewhere comfortable in their own apartment or whatever the case may be.
What do you say about, a choice though? I mean, because you can clearly make a choice between working at McDonald's or going to work on a road crew. No experience, you don't need anything. You're making that choice to work at an industry where the profit margin is 8% if you're doing good, 12% if you're a really good restaurant, whatever. I don't think a McDonald's restaurant, an individually owned, not the corporation, like a regular restaurant can afford to pay their bus people $15 or afford to pay their hostess $15 without really cutting into, being able to survive as a business. That's something to consider. It looks at our, as a whole, as a society, are we willing to pay more money? We can push minimum wage, but honestly, we're going to pay more money for what we have. We're not going to have $1.37 McChicken. We're not going to have this stuff anymore because we're going to actually pay people wages they can live off of. So everything is going to be more expensive, and the people who push the minimum wage at $15 an hour, they don't talk about that. And it's the truth. I'm fine with it. Whatever. If I had to pay more so people aren't poor, whatever. If my burger costs $4 instead of $2, I'm fine with that. But some people aren't.
That, but you don't make $15 an hour.
No, why would I? I make a lot more than that.
Thanks, humble brag.
But what I
No, I was just joking. I don't make that much more than that, to be honest with you. It's not.
What I'm trying to say is that, of course, for people who aren't like fiscally on the verge of, just absolutely being homeless or whatever it is, a jump from a $2 hamburger to a $4 hamburger is a big fucking difference.
It's huge.
Yeah. For you or I, who is not maybe so hurting for money, then, whatever. But, it's a lot of conversations to be had, and it makes you feel like you're shitting on the little guy, and that's truly not the case. If anything, I've fought for the little guy my whole life, and it's not the case at all. My example would be the buddy I work with. I was very happy that he got a raise. I wanted him to, but I think it's important to hold the businesses responsible. And
that's
if we want people to get paid more, then we have to expect to pay more as well.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So,
this is just a way for putting this legislation into place is just a way for the big man to force these organizations and companies to back the people who really don't feel like they have a say because they need the job. And that's always the argument. Like you have 20 years of experience, you have a culinary degree, you have a military background. I'm willing to bet you, not to be funny, that if you wanted to choose somewhere else to work, there are probably going to be other places. Mind you, of course, the economy is ass with everything that's going on, but in a normal economy without COVID, you could probably say, you know what, I don't want to do this anymore. I want to work somewhere that's going to pay me more. And you could probably do that based upon your experience. But for those people, that don't have somebody to back them, kind of like y'all all stepped together and said, we're going to get you that raise that you're looking for. How many jobs have you worked where people are really willing to go to bat for the people that they stand next to every day that work these jobs and are like, fuck, I don't know, I'm about to pay my bill and now we're about to lose our jobs? None.
Never, not once, not ever.
So you guys are an anomaly. Like the fact that you all stood together to help somebody is a great representation of what we are supposed to do, but it doesn't happen.
Let me tell you, and I'm not trying to toot my own horn here, but it wasn't all of us standing together. It was me browbeating the shit out of my bosses until they realized how little this kid made.
Okay, see, even you, like, okay, if one person has enough power to step against a management or a business and say, y'all are shortchanging this man, he hasn't had a raise in 2 years, I just got here and I got X amount of raise, y'all need to have a conversation with him. And then being able to guide him, like, well, if they're not going to do this, I don't know if you had conversations with them. But most times I've also worked with people where I've had to have conversations with them about them not being happy about pay and being like, listen, when you go up for these meetings where they're talking about promotions or they're talking about what you want to do with the future, because they will have those conversations to gauge whether you're going to leave them or not, you put these things into place. And, another thing that I say that people need to do more of, I teach this to my students now, I incorporate it in all my courses, is research. When you're going into these jobs that you're looking at, you have different website engines that you can go on, like Glassdoor, where you can look up how much people make in specific fields that they work in. So instead of going in blind thinking, oh, well, I think I'm worth 50, so I'm going to try for 50, or let's see what they offer me. And it's like, well, we want to offer you 42. And you're like, well, I want more than 42. Yeah. You can go in with a research background and say, okay, well, I've actually looked at positions with the same description that you guys gave me, and this is exactly what they're making. So this is what I want to make. I'm looking to make this much.
Yeah.
And then if they negotiate with you and they say, okay, well, you're asking for 22, we'll pay you 21.50. You know you're close to the mark about what you should be paying according to those positions and what the median is for that position, as opposed to them being like, well, we're going to give you 16 and then you just taking it because you feel like you have to. There should always be a negotiation process that takes place when you take jobs.
Oh,
But-
it always is. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But people don't know that, man. I mean,
Man,
there's people who are like, dude, I need a job so bad. I will give you whatever I'll take whatever you fucking give me. Like, all I want to do is, keep the cable on so I can watch The Bachelor. Like, that's all they fucking want. They want their bills paid. And, I can say all day, a lot of people on the right say, you have to know your market, you have to know your worth, don't take less, don't take $7 an hour, take a job making 15. But listen, man, Dustin works in food. I mean, food is a hard fucking job. I don't care if you're at a restaurant like Dustin works at, or if you're at a fucking McDonald's, you're working hard.
yeah, no.
Like, Wendy's might be the hardest job I've ever had. I worked my ass off in food.
I remember
You know what I mean? And, pay should be based on how hard you work, not, what color shirt you wear, or whether, your shirt says Wendy's. And, this thing with you have a choice to go to Rhodes. Yeah, I made more money on the road crew than I made at Wendy's, but I worked harder at Wendy's. So, just because you take a job at Wendy's doesn't mean you're a piece of shit that should make no money. You can be a hardworking motherfucker. You have a
Mickey D's
chance.
was one of the hardest jobs I ever had, hands down. That
And,
job was
I'm
fucking tough.
making like a circular argument because I'm on both sides of it. You make more, whatever, but
Well,
it's hard to be any other way. It's hard to
Right.
be any other way on it.
That's the point. It's like it's hard to have these conversations, this particular conversation, without having feelings on both sides and being able to see both sides of the story.
Mhm.
It's not you can't just give everyone as much money as they want because it just can't. It doesn't work that way. It just doesn't work that way. So, but kind of wrapping it up here, guys. We're a little over our time, and DJ, I appreciate you coming on, and talking with us a little bit.
Oh, you know me, anytime, man.
I know
Anytime.
you're sad that your boy didn't win a second term, but we're.
I might just cry again, man. As soon as I get off here. It's gonna be tears of fucking joy, but I'm gonna be crying.
He's got a big ass blonde wig. He puts it on every fucking night before he goes to
Oh
bed
my
and
God.
stares at himself in the mirror and hugs.
just to look at what I don't want to be when I grow up.
His wife files him
Swear to
divorce
God.
paperwork every night.
Get out of my house now.
Listen, what do you guys think about these fucking Bernie Sanders memes?
Love him.
This might be the best thing that has ever fucking happened.
But you know what? This is what I'll say about Bernie. And we were laughing about Joe being old. Bernie is no spring chicken, but he is, for the life of me, wise as fuck. He took that meme, made a sweater out of it, and then sold it so that he could give the money to charities. And people are gonna buy that shit.
Sold out already.
Smart.
It's gone. It's sold
Yeah.
out. You can't
And
buy
he
it.
gave
so
it.
he
He gave
sold
right
them
to
all.
charity.
So he sold
I
them
mean,
all, and then gave
I
all the
like
money
Bernie
to charity.
Sanders.
If
He's a
that is
genuine
not
guy.
fucking smart, I don't know what is.
The guy's genius. The guy's a genius. Well, I'm sure it's his crew, his camp. It wasn't like he was sitting there, I think I'll make a shirt. It was like we should ride this wave while we can because the internet's a fickle bitch.
Yep.
So today it's Bernie Sanders memes. Tomorrow it's McGregor memes. The next.
Well, I need somebody to catch me
Roger
doing some
memes,
slightly silly shit so I can sell
I
sweaters.
printed one out.
'Cause
I
Oh my
printed
gosh.
one out.
Get the fuck out of here.
I was
No.
gonna hang him up behind me. I just ran out of time. I was gonna have a whole wall of Bernie memes.
Get the
That's
fuck
him
out
with
of
a
here.
gump.
That's dedication. I swear it's dedication. They had one. I'm telling you, people are so fast with that shit. Like they had one where they had Bernie chokehold and fucking Conor McGregor last night.
Yep, I got that
And I
one
almost
too.
lost my shit.
Like Justin sent me one the other day, and I'm like, I have 46 of them already. I get at least
Internet has
100.
lost their fucking minds about this stuff, and I love
Holy
every
shit.
second of
It's
it.
so awesome.
Yeah. Good for him for taking it in stride and not getting all poopy pants about it and be like, you know what, I'm gonna make money on this.
But here's the thing: it's not like they're roasting him like they were doing
No.
some of the other people. Like when Giuliani's fucking hair was falling out and the fucking the dye was dripping down his face and he was looking like COVID itself. People were making fun of him. I don't think people are making fun of Bernie. They're just funny at the fact the way that he looked.
Bernie is like that granddad or that great
Yeah.
uncle, you know what
Dude,
I mean?
I found one with him with the Golden Girls There was one with him in the basket on ET.
I like that one is him as Baby Yoda.
Yeah, the man.
But all right, guys, I'm gonna cut us off here, man. Again, DJ, I appreciate you stopping in, brother. I really do.
Anytime,
Yeah.
fellas.
Yeah,
Listen, guys, it's a lot of shit we talk about. We are not news, so don't take anything we say to heart. And if you want to argue with what we say, we don't care.
Oh no, bring it on.
Make a fucking comment, and we're glad to ignore it. So, have a good night, guys. We'll see you next week.
All right.